For the team, Ganna, Sheffield, Arensman, apart from you, did an amazing time trial today. Thanks.
Oh dear, was that what I...
For
It's Friday. Hope you're enjoying the weekend. Well, are going to enjoy the weekend. This is Tyler Yonke, the Between Two Wheels podcast. We have some exciting. I hope you enjoyed that open there. That was some cringe moments in journalism and maybe a language barrier problem. I don't know. But Geraint Thomas, a spoiler, did not have a great time trial. We're going to be talking about stage 7 of the Giro d'Italia, Foligno to Perugia, 40.6 kilometers. Stage 7, the Giro, and let's at least go to the profile on deck. And I know, hey, my buddy Victor's here, Tyler Yonke live. Yes, you got notifications. I sent them out, and glad you got them. Excellent. This was, to me, there's been only a few time trials. I don't always enjoy them, okay? But you know the kind I've really been enjoying is are profiled like this. Plata de Bay 2020. They had another one kind of like this. Well, in the tour last year. Now that was a blow-away by Jonas. But the stage 20 of the Giro last year as well. That was these kind that are pan flat and all the hockey stick. That's really what it is. It's a hockey stick time trials. Those are the ones I've been enjoying, and those are the ones that kind of. And here's what they do. You see this here. Now it always is going to. And by the way, let me crack this open. It's non-alcoholic. By the way, I don't know if that makes a difference. I'm gonna still try to go for a bike ride today. Ooh, turn 53 tomorrow. That was subtle. So here's what I love about these time trials, which is, especially this one. I think this one was even better, and we saw it with the results, which is climbers get their shot because this thing was super steep at the start of the climb, but it's like what 34 kilometers in, and then the last 6.5 kilometers are pretty nasty for the climb. So the climbers have their time, but the rollers, the big guys, the big time trialers, they have their shot too by blowing out everybody in the open and then trying to hang on. And then you have a Tadej Pogacar who just does kind of both. But you look, and I got a great little. We're gonna take a look here. A chart that's able to show kind of the parallels of how all the different riders went, so we can take a look at that. So this, to me, once again, I said you're going to have a Ghana. He can go uphill fine enough. He time trials so powerfully that he's going to be able to get himself up there. You obviously have a Tadej, and then you have a few other people, and we're going to talk about the Mike is giving me trouble here. We're also going to talk about the GC riders who did well, who didn't do so well, the big guys who did well out of those and who didn't do well. And I think it's going to be okay. So let's go to. I want to do the live thing here because they've got a bunch of details here. So we're going to take a look at the early. Now I can't. You know what? Let's stop this here. We do have a video, so we could at least go to the video, walk our way through, kind of like how we always do every day, and then take a look and see if there's anything here. I'm not going to play it because that's tragic for us, but there's Gregor Brown of Flow Bikes. There's the profile for the time trial. Okay, well, look, there he goes. And they show that right there, that big hump going in there, and that's their time. So, gorgeous area out there in Tuscany. Enough of you, Gregor. And so there's the movie star team. Geez, is this not going to be? Okay. Filippo Ganna goes off, and he is lighting things up, as you would expect from start to finish. This is a day of tech. So it's all about tech and the gears that they're going to be riding. This is a horrible, highlights video here, but you can see this gearing that they're going. Some guys were talking about they were going to be pushing just a single chain ring in the front. These big, I saw Juan Pedro Lopez. He was in the small ring and in the big ring in the back up at the climb. So it was definitely a steep one. Okay, you know what? I'm going to cancel this because I'm going to see if I can find a better video because this is just really shit, actually. Let's see if we can go here. So let's get a highlight video going on for the race. This is, there we go. There's the highlights. Okay. Now we got it. Now we got it, folks. We're getting a range here. Sorry, those that are, hey, Victor says, happy birthday tomorrow. Thank you. I didn't mean to okay. I said it. Yeah. Okay. So, look, I mentioned yesterday, Filippo Ganna is going to be a danger guy. He's a known time trialer. I mean, he's the Italian national champion. He can go well. We've seen him do that, but he's also gone well uphill. So this to me was not a surprise to see that he would be in contention. Now, him setting all the fast times at the start, that was not a surprise as well. We talked about this route. Looks like a really gorgeous day. They were having to do some things with the heat. Coming around this corner, he being Ganna, and see if I could play this here. I think it was pretty near the start. If you kind of start and stop these things, I think we'll be okay with copyright. But he starts out here, and a fan gets a little overzealous on this corner, and you can see right here they bubble in, the arms out. She's looking forward. She's not even paying attention, and then she's waving, and bam, hits Ganna, and thank God it hit her in the head too. Some people. Anyway, first time check, he's already up on Czerny, who had been setting some fast times here. Second time check, he comes up on Affini, beating him by over a minute. And then we have up the climb, Mikael Bjerg is putting in a good time of 53. Pogacar said he was hoping to get around the 51 minute mark. Bjerg gets up there, and then you have here comes Filippo Ganna. The rough finish. The road was a little bit sketchy coming into the start and the finish, and he puts up a 53. What is he put? He beats that by a minute. So do they give him the time there? There you go. 52:01, 139 ahead of Mikael Bjerg. And there you go. Walsheed, a bunch of these are the big guys. These are big, not your climbers. Hule, Affini, Walsheed, or Wall Street, as Chris Flower would say. Malisi, Bjerg, 139 on him, 155, 215, 225, 245 back to these guys. And so the best of the big guys is Filippo Ganna. But then you start to have some other ones. Now, Magnus Sheffield, last year in the Tour Romandy, remember he went off the, was the Tour Romandy? He went off the road there with, now I'm forgetting the guy's name. He died. And Magnus went off the road. He was pretty much injured too, pretty bad. Went to the hospital. He's had some, it would be difficult coming back from that. But he has come back, and he's been riding really well at this race. And coming into the first, and on Eurosport Max, Robbie McEwen picked as his pick for the win today, Sheffield. Now, that's because he wasn't able to pick first, which would be Pogacar. Second might be Filippo Ganna. But then he was able to pick, and a bunch of guys, someone else I think picked Aaronsman. So here we go. So Magnus Sheffield coming through the time checks. He's 35 seconds off on the first time check, which wasn't bad to Ganna. Now, coming up here, a few of the other riders. Magnus Sheffield, when he comes in at the finish, he actually had taken this down. We'll take a look. We'll break down kind of the different time checks. But Magnus had been 35 seconds, then he was closer to almost a minute, and then he brought this back, so he was able to gain time. He's going to be someone to watch in the future. Matter of fact, you take a ride like what he put up today, and you're very likely to see someone like him battling for world championships. You're going to be able to see for the time trial, perhaps battling for, well, if he were to go home and he wasn't here, he'd be able to do the world, the U.S. championships. Brandon McNulty is another great time trialer. Not here. He is going home to the U.S. to compete in the national championships. I love it when the World Tour riders are wearing the stars and stripes, either on the road or in the time trial and Brandon's been able to do that. So Magnus Sheffield, 32 seconds off of Filippo Ganna, stellar time, fist bump from Pogacar to Geraint Thomas. Arensman was the next Ineos rider to come through. He's down around 37, 38, 39, somewhere almost close to 40 seconds. What does he actually end up getting here? 41, 43 seconds to Ghana. So very good for him, but Magnus had went inside him. So I think Magnus had been a little bit behind. Once again, we'll take a look at the time checks to get the exact numbers here coming out. But then the big guys, look, it's going to be almost an hour. Geraint Thomas goes off the start. You have Tadej Pogacar going off the start. Little thing about his shorts. Remember, we talked about that a few days ago, where the two-tone different colors, this UCI was going to penalize Pogacar for that, or disqualify him out of the race. It looks like the RAI, the people that run the Tour of Italy, sat down with the UCI, and he's able to wear these two-tone shorts. So he did. Now, Tadej, there was also an indication that the wind changed. The wind was a little bit stronger for the last guys going out. So you can see almost a two-set type of race. The guys that go in the morning, kind of the bigger guys, but then giving a little bit of a disadvantage to the stronger climber types, the GC guys overall, and if that's going to play into it. Now, I think it definitely played into some of it. I don't know how much it was, if it was just pacing, but the top guys were not setting the same times. Danny Martinez is going out there. He's looking good, but at the first time check, he's a minute 24 off of Ghana. And you're like, okay, maybe that's just Danny Martinez. I told you, he's the time trial champion from Colombia, but is he a time trial champion? Well, today he actually put up some stellar ride, and I'm hopeful for it to see how he's going to go. Geraint Thomas, 50-some seconds off of Ghana at the first time check. But when you came through and Pogacar, he was 44. There was only like 8 seconds difference between Pogacar and Geraint Thomas. So you're like, well, we've got a battle on our hands. The two guys, the wind's a little bit stronger. They're trying to gauge themselves and see how well it goes. And there you go. Now, another one was Luke Plapp. He had some big plans for today. He ended up putting a good time in here. But for yesterday, so he was about 128 off of Ghana. But we're really looking to see how does he do with the GC guys, right? And some of these climber types that just can't get themselves rolling over the first 35 kilometers. But the question is, what if Luke got some, 20-some seconds yesterday, but what if he hadn't have been off the front all day yesterday? Would he have been able to put up a much better time and perhaps take more time today? So I don't know. I mean, he put up such a good time. I've got to be thinking that yesterday's time put a bit of a damper into him, and maybe it wasn't as wise for him to be going up the road. He would have had more of an advantage in the time trial than he did in the stage yesterday. Either way, we're having a big battle from behind. Geraint Thomas comes through this next time check. This time he's down. Remember, he was about 50 seconds off in the first one. Now he's a minute 27 off of Ghana, but you're like, it's okay because he and Pogacar are having trouble. They have more wind. Oh, then here comes Pogacar through on the second time check. He's right around 47 seconds or so. So he's already up, giving himself, almost 30 seconds over Geraint Thomas. Now, Keanu Utebrooks, he had been suffering all day as far as he's not expected to be a great time trialer. Now, what has he done this year? I think it was Gran Camino. He had done a time trial. It didn't do well. But when you look at Gran Camino in that time trial, remember, it was nullified on day one, so it didn't matter what you did. Matter of fact, Jonas Vingegaard didn't even do great there because they said, hey, we don't give a shit. So I don't know but he's still not going to be a great time trialer. He comes in here through to the finish, not looking smooth. I mean, that's not a smooth way to come through on your bike there, young man. 238 off of our man on the top, Filippo Ganna. But look at that. He was inside the time of Will Barta. Will Barta, remember a few years ago, I think it was the Volta. He was just a few seconds off of winning the time trial, but he got beat out by Roglic. So Will Barta can time trial well, top 17, and Keanu Utebrooks going in at 2:35. I think that was well done. And by the way, this is why I'm saying this time trial is an interesting one to me, which is Utebrooks, and we'll look at his times on the first few checks. Not going to be close, but he does a decent time up the climb, and you can end up taking some time back. Danny Martinez ends up flying up the climb, really put some time in from where he was. finishes 131 off of Ghana. And look, that's the stepstone where you're going to look. Ghana and Plapp in the hot seat. I don't know why Plapp's up there. I shouldn't have been Sheffield. Sheffield's currently holding second. I think it's second, third with Arnsman. And then you've got Plapp, but it must be his buddy. So there you go. The two boys are cruising out in the course. They come into the finish here. Geraint Thomas not pulling any time back. Matter of fact, he's lost time on the climb to Ghana. You would not expect that. 143. That's 143 to Ghana on the time inside Ben O'Connor. And we'll take a look at Ben O'Connor. Ben O'Connor hadn't looked good out there on the course, but did a storming time up the climbs. By the way, I'm still looking for, I just want from last check to the top, kind of the KOM style. And I need some times for that. Anybody has that, please send them my way. I'd love to come look at them. However, when you, what you would expect, looking at the time, look at the face here of Ghana as Pogacar is coming into the finish with 25 seconds up on him. He and Plapp had their hats on backwards, hoping to do the US rally cap type of thing. Pogacar was able to almost semi-post up on the line on his time trial bike. 17 seconds, 18, 16, 17 seconds up. I think it's 17 was official. Up on Ghana, was able to raise a fist. He was super stoked about this. And then, came through in the time. So here we go on the time trial. Tadej Pogacar, first place, 17 seconds up on Filippo Ganna, 49 seconds up on Magnus Sheffield. By the way, blew me away that Sheffield gets on a 40 kilometer time trial is within a minute of Tadej Pogacar with that nasty climb. That is really something to look look at what we have right now. Some of the Will Barta, he's had some great results. McNulty's won this year, time trialing, climbing. Magnus Sheffield getting on the podium here at the Giro, 7 stages in on a ridiculously tough time trial. Sepp Kuss wins the Vuelta last year. Jorgensen wins Door van der Vlaarden this year. I mean, people, we've got some, not just like, hey, it's nice, they're doing well. It's some star-studded performances that have really been exciting to see. Tiemann Arensman, remember, he started out the first day having some trouble on the second day, and his dad got on Twitter and was blasting the coaches. So it looks like, hey, dad's right. Coaches can't mess with your time. He's coming into his own. He was a minute off, but he did a good time. He was up on close to the hot seat all day. Max Schachmann, another great result from him. 105 back. Antonio Tiberi, 121. Lucas Plapp in 7th place at 145. Daniel Martinez, 149 in 8th. Mikkel Bjerg, 156 in 9th. Geraint Thomas, top 10, but 2 minutes off. And so you heard that opening conversation there of the guy asking the questions, and maybe we'll play that one again. So here's now the flipped around times. Martinez jumps up 10 seconds over Geraint Thomas into 2nd place now. Geraint Thomas down to 3rd. Ben O'Connor moves up 7 spots to 4th place. Lucas Plapp up 10 spots to 5th place. Lutsenko up 3 spots to 6 at 349. Keanu Brooks drops down 3 spots to 7th place, 350, but I think that's a solid time, and that may get reshuffled as we look at this. Antonio Tiberi, team Bahrain, is 411 back in 8th place. He went up 13 spots on the day. Then tomorrow we're going to have a climb up to the top, up to Prato de Tivo. That will be another one. And then Sunday, it's going to be maybe a little bit less exciting. So let me bring up let's see if I could do this one here. I don't want this. I just want a window. Where are we going here? You know what? I'm not gonna have it there. Hang on a moment. I want to be able to pull this picture up here. Let's see if I could do that. This is a kind of a graphic display. There we go. We'll be able to show it this way. A graphic display of the time gap development at time points for the top 5 at the finish. Okay, so it starts out here. There's different colors, and if you can't tell, the very bottom flat line on the x-axis is just Ghana, because he's the reference point, because at time period 1 and 2, he had the lead, and he had the lead over everybody up until the finish. And you can see these other ones are just slowly going slower than him. Pogacar, one of the more slow times, I guess, here. They don't even have Geraint Thomas listed on this because it's the top 5 guys. So Geraint Thomas would be even slower than him. And the straight line, probably the most consistent here as far as referencing from, it would be Schachmann. He's got this straight line. But, you know, the first person, Pogacar's timing-wise in his pacing, he's outside all of them into the first time check. But by the second time check, he had surpassed Schachmann, and then he had surpassed Sheffield, and he was basically dead on with Arensman, but then just blows the doors off of everybody in the last time. And, you know, he puts on, 18 seconds to the better of Ghana, but that time difference from where he had on the split was just lightning. So pretty solid by Sheffield, if you look at that, as far as in comparison here. He's slower at the first one. He's a little slower at the second one, but then he stops losing ground and brings it all back to Ghana at the finish. Once again, Arensman loses, and probably somewhat similar. Looks like it's straight parallel lines here for the last bit. Schachmann did a little better than Ghana. So once again, this was what a great time trial this is. It kind of is the evener out now. I wish there was a comparison of a bunch more people on here, but until I find some way to actually see that, it's not gonna happen. Let's see here. I want to take a look. See if I can find it. Bookmarks. There we go. Got them in the bookmarks. I thought I bookmarked that one. I guess I don't have it here with okay. Well, let's go to some other breakdowns of the time checks, and then we'll do a few interviews, and then we'll get out of here because it's Friday. Okay, so here we go on the first time check. Once again, 24 seconds up. This is 21 minutes in. Not sure where the exact time check is, but any of the Arensman was only 30 seconds off. Once again, we had Sheffield at 35, Schachmann 36, and show top 20. So no big other riders. Will Barta's up there at the first one, which you would expect from here. Luke Plapp 49 seconds back. And you don't even, do you even see Pogacar? Yeah, he's 10th place there. Geraint Thomas is 13th place. So we were at least somewhat close. Then we start to see some more dramatic times with Arensman at 47 seconds. We already saw that chart. Now Poggy starts to pop his way up in the top three with Sheffield, Schachmann, Plapp is out there, Geraint Thomas, Daniel Felipe Martinez, 2 minutes out there on the first one. And that's where you start to see a difference here. He's 2 minutes out, but what is he off of Pogacar? 47. So he's inside he's, just a minute or so off of there. Will Barta 217. But then obviously at the final. But this is where Martinez 149 off of Pogacar. And that's about what we thought he was, because he was 2 minutes off at the top, but then you have 13 seconds there. So he did a pretty solid climb, probably one of the better climbs of the day, and that's what I want to see. I want to see what is the actual climbs on the day and where do we get that? But there we go, I don't have it. Okay, we already saw the results. I just want to take us through everybody here once again. Let's go to the GC, look at the big losers of the day. Like I said, Arensman moved up 15 spots. Luke Plapp moved up 10. O'Connor 7 spots. Big losers here is Juan Pedro Lopez drops down 8. Jan Hurt, we don't really think. Einar Rubio, he dropped down 7. As far as the top 15 there, Chavez drops 11 places. Narvaez 7, but Pozzovivo 4. These guys are out of it regardless, so I'm not really concerned much way about them. Larry Warbass moves up 5 spots. Solid work there. So as far as the top goes, you got 1, 2, 3. I think that's it. I think Ben O'Connor has an amazing time opportunity here still to get in the top 3, even though with some of the crashes and problems he had. I don't think Luke Plapp is going to be able to stay up there, or Lutsenko. I see Keanu Brooks at 350. He's a minute out of 3rd place. He has a shot at getting there. I mean, you can easily come up and down. Filippo Zana, interesting day for him. He went up 7 spots here. He's up to 9th place. Tiberi for Bahrain victorious. I mean, he's got a chance. Who are the Arensman? I can see him moving up, but he's got to contest with Geraint Thomas, so that's still problematic. Roman Bardet had actually a really good time today. 5:23 out for 14th place. He can still have some chances here. Juan Pedro Lopez had a horrible time trial. He's 5:28. He's in 15th place. I could see him possibly getting up to the top 10 if he quells some of his problems of crashing and a few other mechanical issues. So Points race didn't change. KOM didn't change. Youth did change. Plapp went up into the lead on that, but Utebrooks only 8 seconds back here. Ineos had a great team day, and they are up into first place. So here we go. Ineos. Let's take a look at their day. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 10th. That's a solid. But Bora, 5th place, 8th place. Team Jaco Alula, 7th place. UAE 9th and 1st. You can't really get much better than that. So let's take a look at tomorrow's. As we said, Prata de Tivo, solid one, but the Cat 2, they come right out of the blocks, hitting this like 4.1% climb, drop down, hit back up to a category 2. I mean, you're going to have a break going up the road, and it's going to be, can they keep it within? Is UAE going to be able to hold this within the point of being able to keep the groups close enough for Tadej to get the win? Now, our friend Brian Zimney sent me a message, and he goes, look, it's time now for Tadej to kind of sit back and to, cool the jets a bit. Okay, save some energy for the Tour de France, young man. And now, okay, possibly. I mean, there's another time trial in this race. Does he need to go all out? He can just kind of play defensive. The problem is if there's one bad mechanical, one bad thing that happens, you do want to solidify yourself. I don't think that he being Tadej needs to put it to the point where he's overly aggressive. Okay, he can play somewhat defensive, but yet to still take advantage of some times. And I think that can happen. You attack in the last 3 kilometers of the race tomorrow, put on another 30 seconds. Fine. What's that to you? I don't think that's much of anything at all. A few other chances he has here. So you've got that. And then when's the next time trial? Oops, I think we went one too far. Stage 14. Stage 14, very flat time trial. You're looking at Ghana for this one, or maybe a Sheffield. Okay, or do you depend on? But look at the day right after this. I'm not sure if it's a rest day or not, but you've got climbing going on then. So you can't just get a necessarily rest on your laurels either. Should we go give it a shot to see if we have some of these interviews we can check out? And see if I could find one here. There we go. Pro Cycling Net. And evidently Cavendish won. What will be the max speed miles per hour become undescending? On some of those, I mean, if it's wide and sweeping road, they can hit 60s, 70 miles an hour. So that's not. But that's flying. You've got to trust a lot of people. It's probably better to be doing those out in the when you're not in a big group of people. Okay, let's see what Tadej says at the finish here. Sorry, it's got a commercial I got to get past. Okay, let's add this in. Sorry, my buttons for some reason they're not clicking. There you go.
And if you look at the gaps after this time trial, 2:36 on Martinez, 2:46 on G, that's an abyss.
Yeah, it's a good margin now, but it's still a long way to Rome, and the hardest stages are still coming. So yeah, we still need to keep focus and keep in mind that anything can happen. And we see how we ride as a team on the climbs, and I think we can be pretty confident, and we try to maintain this gap and see how the day by day the race develops.
You spoke about the pacing plan, the importance of that pacing plan today, and you managed that
He looks bored.
terrifically with minus 10% in the flats, or how much percentage?
I don't know about the percentage. I'm not so good at math, but I was just trying to not overpace, not to go into the red until the climb, and that's for me it was good pacing, and I could keep good time without going in too much into the suffer mode. But then in the climb I had to go all out, and it was super good pacing today.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Man, he wants to get the F out of there. He is not that. Let's take a look and this is a long interview.
And I guess you're good too because you got a brand new jersey.
I do. It's a beautiful white jersey. It'll match the Australian white bib shorts tomorrow. So yeah, I'm stoked. It's a perfect first week of the Grandy for me. So anything after today is a bonus.
Yeah, I think you had a
Why do the Aussies always have to have some sort of like? There's I don't know if it's like millennial talk, a Grandy, the Plappy.
Going well this TT, yeah? Did everything go according to plan? Because you did also a lot of effort yesterday.
Yeah, I with Matt White, I reconned yesterday's gravel stage and today's TT straight after Paris-Nice together. So it was it was really nice to make those recons worth it. Yeah, I'm really happy. I'm really happy. It wasn't the best TT from me by all means, but it definitely wasn't bad. I think I felt yesterday in the legs, but so did everyone. But if it was a world title TT or Olympics, you're never going to do 4 hours full gas in a breakaway the day before. So yeah, I didn't feel my best, but it wasn't bad at all. And to be in this jersey is an awesome bonus. And anything after today's, it is what it is. I'm not focusing on anything towards Rome, so I'll just take it day by day now and see what comes from it.
Have you still watched the GC though? Do you know which place you are?
I saw which place I am, but we'll see in 24 hours what place that is. I think it'll change in the next 24 hours, but I'm going to enjoy tonight. It's been a great first week for me, so we'll just see where it goes from there.
Okay, good stuff from Luke. Once again, I have some issues with him going off in the break, and I think that's no, these are in French, so we're not going to really get much out of him. How about Sheffield? There we go.
Time trial. That was a massive effort, but a great performance as well.
Yeah, that was probably one of the hardest and longest time trials I've done. It was super windy, and I was just trying to let the bike sail as much as possible to propel me forward. But yeah, I think it's great that people had such a good ride. I think this helps the morale of the team, and now hopefully Time and NG can also lay down some good times.
Is this the longest CT you've ever done, you said?
Oh, by far. I think like when I was a junior, the Nationals was 30 odd kilometers. But I think, it's good to test myself on these longer time trials, especially with, what the Worlds used to be like and normally is, and same with the Olympics. So I think, the goal for me is to continue trying to, perform as one of the best time trialists in the world. So I think, I didn't get the win today, but I think I'm on the right path.
I would say yes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to. I want to play that one last time. This was is a little odd because this was the announcer. Now it might be a language issue. I don't know, but interviewing Geraint Thomas. This clip is taken. He first talks to him about his own time. He's like, "Look, I didn't have the legs. I don't know what it is." He's like, "It just I pushed. I tried. It just didn't seem to called down to the power room. There just didn't seem to be the power." But then this guy says this. Now, look, I don't have any problem with like asking these guys. It's after the race. You get paid for this kind of stuff. And I want to say Geraint Thomas, his reaction, I think is superb because the way this is worded, I don't think it was meant to be this way, but it seems like an a-hole.
Ghana, Sheffield, Arensman, apart from you, did an amazing time trial today. Thanks.
And then the Eurosport chick, that she had a tough time with that. Yeah, everyone did great, but you pulled that. Look, this is a bit frustrating. Especially if you don't have a good race. I think a lot of it should be, if you want to talk about ask him about him. If you want to talk about your teammates and how they did, then maybe not a time when then you didn't do so good yourself. Okay, and so I just throwing that out there. That could be the way. Okay, so tomorrow's stage, I fully expect Tadej to win back-to-back today, and then tomorrow. But it could be a good day. It could be a day that a breakaway gets up because with the weekend coming up here and at least a rest day on Monday, what UAE might be concerned about is depleting their team a bit, giving them a chance to rest. Because tomorrow, you think Ineos is going to be, okay, we're going to control it? No. Bora, maybe. I don't know. Maybe Danny Martinez thinks he could get up there and win. I think he can. But I don't know. So what I'm saying is I think it's a good day for a break. And I want to say, is Shaw still in here for EF? That's what I want to take a look at. Let's take a look here. Results from today. Tade was the one we did. Nations. Let's go to teams. EF Education. Cepeda, Honore, Valgren, Piccoli, DeBode, Georg, Steinhauser. I guess Shaw isn't here. Was he 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Okay, so I guess did they have was he on the star list? I thought he was on the star list because he's a guy that I could see taking off and actually making some time. So I don't know why I'm looking because he's not in the race anymore. Simon Carr was the other one. He's done. Or actually him. He DNF'd on stage 3. So maybe not anybody on that team necessarily, but I could see a Bardet style going up the road, maybe Bodine. So, but other than that, you've got it. I think it might be a day that a break goes in some climber guy, maybe a Simon Clark. I don't know who else we have here. Nairo Man, maybe Nairo Man will get up there for the breakaway. I could completely see that kind of action happening. Other than that, it's going to be Tade, Philippe, Martinez, Danny Martinez, and it'll be interesting to see if Geraint Thomas can hang on, maybe has a resurgence. Arnsman, these are the types you're going to see here. But I once again, because I don't see that UAE needs to protect so much, and so do they actually have to drill their team to do so? And the way that the stage is set up here, it's set up perfectly for a breakaway. That's my prediction. Victor, thanks again. Thanks for live stream Between Two Wells podcast. Thank you, Victor, for joining us. Don't forget to like the podcast, subscribe, so you're getting us. We're coming here every day. My May is going. I'm going to be able to do it. I think I'm going to be able to do it. Maybe a little tough in a few weeks because I have to go to Southern California for a wedding. But hopefully that'll work out. All right, everybody. Thank you again, and we will see you tomorrow, bright and early. Are we going to do it in the morning? I don't know. I have plans tomorrow, so I might have to do it. Look for me to do a recap closer to the finish, okay? Probably an hour or two after the finish, Victor. Take a look at that. All right, see you.
Froome now, he goes on the offensive, he goes on the attack over the top of this final climb, and nobody at the moment can go with him.
He had 75 kilometres to go, and now under the Flamme Rouge, and there he is still, the virtual Maglia Rosa on the road. Who would have thought it at the start of today? But Chris Froome, masterful performance, takes the win on top of the Jafra. You tell me that you love me so.